I'll request Mr. Deenadayalan to take it over from here for the IR group. Harni, if you're there, Harni, you could take it over. Thanks.
Thanks, Anand.
Yeah.
Hello, good evening all. I'm Harini, and I'm here to host the CEOTSG conversation series with ER gurus from Vedanta Group. Vedanta Resources requires no introduction. They are one of the biggest conglomerates in India, and it's a globally diversified natural resources major with interest in zinc, lead, silver, copper, iron ore, aluminium power, and oil and gas. Today evening, joining with us are the young, vibrant, and dynamic HR leaders from Vedanta Group, Mr. Praveen, Deputy CHRO from Vedanta Group, Mr. Subhadeep Khan, Chief Human Resource Officer at Bharat Aluminium Company Limited, Vedanta Group, and Ms. Gunjan Agnihotri, Head Talent Management at Vedanta. On behalf of CEOTSG, I extend a warm welcome to our guest of honor and my dear friends and HR colleagues. I'm going to quickly take you through the speaker profile, and post that we will start the conversation. And once we are over with the conversation, we'll open the gate for a few questions from the chat, which we can take up with the speakers. Praveen spearheads high-impact strategic transformational interventions at the Vedanta Group, and he benchmarks global best people practices, creating a strong pipeline of leaders from within and strengthening and sustaining Vedanta as an employer of choice. Growing in-house timber is a forte under the anchorage of his chairman. At Vedanta, he has served across various locations and became one of the youngest GMs at the age of 34. Subhadeep Khan is responsible for overall strategy, administration, and evaluation of human resource function and industrial relations. He manages close to 9,000 plus workforce in a multi-union context. And he has close to 18 years of experience handling big teams in multiple domain projects. Gunjan is the head of talent management, and she is one of the youngest female HR heads for a unit, and was heading one of the India's largest mines at Hindustan Zinc, where she was managing close to 3,500 plus workforce, including both on-rolls and contract employees. Currently, she is heading a corporate role in talent management. So I'm going to start with Praveen, and we will start the session today. Hello, Praveen.
Hello, hi, Arni. Nice seeing you. Thank you so much for inviting us here.
So, being an alumnus of DG Vaishnav and my very own senior, so let's start with a light note on how do you look back from where you started to currently being a DG CHRO at Vedanta Group. Can you share your journey?
Beautiful. Perfect, Harini. Thank you so much. The way I said, for inviting us, team of 3 from Vedanta. And we would be more than happy to share our experience with all our participants who are here in terms of how we are leading our people-related practices. And coming to your question, Harini, I think it has been an amazing journey from the days of college till the corporate world. I think God has been very kind to me, I would say. Had amazing experience moving many locations, many businesses of Vedanta, and today being part of one of the largest conglomerate in natural resources sector. We will talk more about it as we progress in terms of how the journey has been. But to put it in very simple way, it was all about, performance. Somewhere you need to sacrifice, something when it comes on the personal side as well. Understanding the larger picture, understanding the business context, all those comes as a kind of, very, very important thing as you progress in your career. And I think I have been very fortunate enough in terms of, traveling this journey and attaining some good milestone in my life and my career.
Okay. That's great, Praveen. What do you, I mean, how do you define the Vedanta's philosophy of employee relations? For example, when it comes to TVS Group, it's considered to be a very benevolent organization when they deal with employees, whereas MRF is an organization which thrives on arbitration, strikes, lockout, yet they are a very successful organization. So where do we see Vedanta Group in the spectrum? How do you define the philosophy?
Maybe I think, Harini, I will share 7 pillars of Vedanta. And the reason for sharing these 7 pillars is all our workforce, all our people, various sections, which we are about 100,000 people across the group. We all are binded by these 7 pillars, and everybody gets an equal opportunity to participate and add value in these 7 pillars. That's probably, makes us very successful. And before I talk about the 7 pillars, I think it would make it would be good if I just share some statistics. The way I said, we are 100,000 people, of which about 20% of them, they are direct workforce, about 80% of them, they are indirect workforce. We contribute about 1.5% to the GDP of the country. We are spread in about 75 locations, small, medium-sized, big factories. We are very particular when it comes to, giving back to society. And as we speak, in last 7 to 8 years, we have touched lives of about 42 million people in whichever way we could. So these are all some of the, statistics, which helps us a kind of, that gives us a lot of pride. And somewhere we also have a motivation to add a lot of values to the lives of people, for the simple reason that there are ample opportunity for everybody. And I think very less conglomerate in the country today would have a privilege of having 40 to 50 CEOs, 40 to 50 CFOs, 40 to 50 CHROs. I can keep talking about the CXO. So the point is, I think somewhere, of course, you need to do a lot of things. You need to have a lot of structure in place, but you also have an opportunity, for the simple reason that the scale and the size what you have in your organization. So I think that is something which is driving all of us, which is motivating all of us as an organization. Ultimately, as we speak, 100,000 people, all of us, we are working towards, making this as a kind of $100 billion company. So that's the ultimate business vision we have in our mind. But what is that something which is binding all of us, the philosophy? The 7 pillars. I will not get into detail of it for the paucity of time. Otherwise, I can take a lot of time explaining each of the pillar. But then I have, my leadership team here, a couple of them, Subhadeep Khan. I want him to talk about practically how do we drive on ground. Gunjan, we are very particular in terms of promoting women leaders to leadership role. We want to cover those kind of elements for my audience, for my colleagues who are here in today's webinar, which can help all of us to take away something from the session. But the 7 pillars, which are very, very important for us in all the aspects. Number 1, it is all about health, safety, environment. When I say this, what I mean, we all are working towards one thing, that we have a zero harm, zero waste, zero discharge. So that's the kind of thinking we are taking it forward. I'm not saying that we are perfect. We still see some kind of fatalities happening in the organization, but as an intention, as a kind of efforts, we all are working towards it. And that's where we have a kind of total empowerment to each and every workforce, the person who is there on the ground. They can, give their values, they can give their ideas, suggestions in this 3 element. Coming to number 2, participation in ethics, compliance, governance, integrity is very, very fundamental. We have a zero tolerance for this. Everybody can participate. There are platforms, there are forums where people can voice out, they can speak up, they can share if anything is going against. And the way our chairman, vice chairman, Mr. Agarwal says that it's not about you doing right. It's also about, if somebody is not doing right and you reporting about it, that's equally important. So that's where you create a kind of culture where you have a ethics, integrity, governance, compliance comes into comes into picture. Number 3, people participating in this third pillar, which I personally feel is very, very important. And we will talk more about it as we progress, and Subhadeep will add value. It's not about only your skilled workforce, but I think everybody needs to participate in this. In today's context, if you have a growth plan in your mind, if you want to, jump into the next level of your performance delivery, that is on technology, digital, benchmarking, analytics. It is very, very important. If you are not focusing on this element, you cannot achieve what exactly you are targeting. And when I talk about Vedanta, today as we speak, we have a plan of investing about $20 billion in various of our businesses. So the way you indicated at the beginning, we are into aluminum, we are into zinc, we are largest producer of copper, iron ore, steel, silver. Many less people would know that we are the largest producer of silver in the country. We are also coming up huge. I think it will be a huge pride for entire country at large when we come up with semiconductor glass, which we have announced recently, wherein we are exclusively investing about $20 billion. It's a huge investment. But the point is, all these things can be achieved only if you have your sharp focus on technology, digital, analytics, benchmarking. And this is not for one section of the team, but everybody participating in it. Number 4, people play a big role. People are our assets. We lay a lot of importance. I can keep talking about it in terms of what we do on the people element, but what differentiates us is our people and the best practices what we have created. I'm not saying we have created overnight. A lot of efforts has gone behind coming to the stage where we are today, and long way to go. Number 5, quality. Quality is very, very important for us, and we strongly feel it's not about quality of product. It's about quality of product. It's about your quality of raw material. It's about quality of your business partner. It's about quality of the way you keep your housekeeping. Anything. It's everything. The way you sit, the way you dress, the way you keep your room clean. Everything comes under the quality. It's not only input and then finish the product. If you take care of quality, and that's where I believe that our philosophy says everybody has to come together, top management till the bottom, everybody coming together and participating in this quality journey. And if you do that right, very simply, you can increase your volume by 25% and you can reduce your overall cost by 10 to 15%. And that makes a lot of difference. Coming to pillar number 6, that's growth. Growth is in our DNA. I think whenever there is a growth topic in the country, I think people can easily say it's Vedanta, whether it's organic or inorganic basis. But that is something which is in our DNA. We will live by that. And any person, if I keep talking about it when I go to campuses, I visit a lot of campus for placement talk and guest lectures, so on and so forth. And I always tell them, always choose company where you have the growth orientation. That gives you an edge. And finally, maybe again, I'm very conscious of the fact of the time and not getting into detail of anything. But finally, we all are binded by a simple fact that giving back to society. Our chairman is very particular in terms of whatever we do for larger purpose. We do for giving back to society. We have a lot of things in place at a local level, at a state level, at a national level. For a couple of our signature project, which is on the sports side, where we have a dream, where we send our team to Olympic. Teams are getting ready in businesses. On the football side, Nandghar, I would encourage participants who are here, they go and Google and see what Nandghar is all about, which is anchored by the Prime Minister of our country, and how Mr. Anil Agarwal is taking forward the Nandghar, which is nothing but a kind of erstwhile or the Anganwadi and Balwadi, what we used to call, but how we have modernized this. And as we speak, we have created about 4,000 Nandghars in various parts of the geographies, and how we are, helping children and women empowerment in this area. So the bottom line, these 7 pillars are something which talks about the entire philosophy of how all employees, all sections are working and, collaborating together.
Okay, that's great, Praveen. You're very put it in a very detailed way. Though candid, still it looks elaborate for us. Thanks for that detailed answer. So when it comes to employee relations, you are a corporate HR. You sit at corporate office and you have to oversee units across India. So what is the autonomy that the unit has versus the role of corporate when it comes to employee relations? Can you tell us, since you have many units that needs to be managed?
Yeah,
It's like state and center.
No, agreed. I think this is a very, very, amazing thing, and those who have been able to crack it beautifully, I think they have survived and they have done better. And when I say this, what I exactly mean is, there are few large conglomerate in the country, to name Reliance, Tata Group, ABG, Adani, or for that matter, Vedanta, Mahindra and Mahindra. And I will not get into detail, but I have done my own study. I have a team who helped me doing it. I'm well networked person. I connect with a lot of CHRO, keep learning from them how they run the function. But this is a beautiful thing, and Vedanta stands a bit different, and I will tell you why. The way you see Tata Group, the way you see Mahindra and Mahindra, they are more central heavy kind of organization. But when it comes to the Vedanta philosophy, we believe the action happens on ground. Action happens on ground, and corporate is more of facilitating. They are supporting in terms of guideline policies, wherever you need to focus on, and exclusive things. And that's where I tell that we as an organization, we are very federal in nature. We have a very federal structure. All the businesses, so 10 large businesses of Vedanta, whichever we are talking about, all the businesses, they are empowered in terms of running their P&L, in driving their businesses. They have their own decision-making management committee. But we are very particular. We are very clear that at a corporate, we would focus on few things which are at a very top level, which are to do with something on the people side, which are to do something on the finance side, where you can have a team which helps you in terms of assurance and risk mitigation, something around communication and CSR. So the point is, we are a very lean team at a corporate, but we are very focused in terms of what we need to drive the role of corporate and the role of businesses. But broadly speaking, I think the businesses are empowered in the way they want to run their organization. And there are certain guidelines, there are certain systems and policies which are in place. If those things, of those DNAs and principles are abided by, I think rest of the things automatically taken care. And we will talk more about it in terms of, how I'm not talking about the numbers, but, if you ask me from the HR point of view, there are 500 senior leaders, 500 people. And I would be more inclined in terms of how I can help these 500 people in terms of their succession planning, in terms of their driving their career, in terms of their comp and benefit, in also to some extent on the L&D side. But there are many things for the 100,000 people, what we have talked about. A lot of action has to happen from the businesses. We are a team of 500 HR professionals, which include, of course, IR put together. And they are well equipped. They have all empowerment with them in terms of driving at the ground at a in the locations. And the way I said, there are 75 locations. So they are the one who drive things and make it happen. Harini.
How autonomous can we say? Like they are 100% autonomous, or how do you call?
If you ask
because
me,
many times we hear the organizations where we consult, they say, oh, we have to tell it to the corporate office, so it's not in our hands, so it has to go to corporate. So that we hear very often at a plant level. So in that way.
I think, and it's right. I think each company have their own way of running it. We have a certain structure in place. We have a review mechanism where on monthly basis, we call it as an executive committee, EXCO meeting, where all the leaders come together and they share it. You can call it a review or a growth plan. And that's a forum where in case anybody has to give any idea, suggestion, inputs, those things happens there. But broadly, by and large, if you ask me, businesses are empowered. I don't want to put any number. Businesses are empowered, but in case there are any deviation to anything, deviation to policy, they do reach to us, they do come to us, and probably we sit together and we arrive at a kind of, what can be approved or what can be taken forward suitably. So that's how it is.
Okay. So this is a very interesting question. So Vedanta is a company where even when a company is in bankruptcy or in the most pathetic state, you acquire, you turn it to a very successful business. So first of all, it takes so much guts. I mean, your chairman is very famous for that. He acquires, he takes such daring decisions, which no one takes. So in that case, it's easy for from business point of view, they acquire. So what is the role of HR when such acquisitions happen? So what kind of people practices and systems that you will have to implement in such cases? Because I think in most of your tenure, you would have been handling one acquisition or other and dealing with that. How do you see that?
No, Harini, I think that's a very interesting subject question. It's a subject by itself, M&A and the role of HR and people into it. It's very sensitive. It has a lot to do with the cultural sensitivity part of it. And if you ask me, I think I have been the most fortunate at my age, at a young age. I got an opportunity to be part of organization. I think I'm very privileged, where I have seen a lot of M&A happening in front of me, whether it's part of the zinc business, whether it's in iron ore, steel has happened in front of me, oil and gas in India. I can keep talking about. There are a lot of acquisitions which has happened in front of me, and I've been fortunate at various capacities. I learned, I contributed in a way. But just to tell you in a very crisp manner, I think the secret or the transparent beauty of contribution is our chairman strongly believe whichever company you acquire, don't try. Generally, you have a tendency where once you get your company, you want to make change, with immediate effect. Ab hamara ho gaya, jo karna sab immediately kar do. But I think the beauty, what I have seen personally, we don't touch anything when it comes to the organization structure of that organization. We strongly feel that on the competency and capability area, there is nothing where you need to add any value. You have an amazing set of minds already contributing and working in on those sides. But wherever there are mutual learning, mutual appreciation of practices, I think that's where, in addition to the transactional part of it, I'm not getting into the MIS and number and working towards the designing and redesigning of hierarchies and clubbing and combining all those together. These are all very simple stuff to do. But the focus is, if you are able to support those existing management team, you need not do anything in terms of the way I said on competency capability basis. But if you can help them with anything where you can add value, where you can give them platform, where you can give them support, where you can give them some CapEx program, I think that is something, suffice a lot. But the best thing is not touching and getting into the making change in terms of the organization, the MIP, what I call it in our parlance, management in place, not getting into too much of it, and rest of the things are.
Okay, that's great. That's great, Praveen. So, I'll with this, I'll move to Subhadeep Khan, since it's acquisitions. I think he has been working with a taken over plant, and he's heading it successfully. And so it would be wonderful to listen from him. What are the actual ground level challenges that he has been handling, and he has been able to successfully take it up?
That would be that would be amazing. That would be amazing. And Subhadeep Khan is part of my HR management committee. He's part of my senior leadership team. And the beauty for the participant, just to know, and Subhadeep, I'm just taking liberty of saying this. He's the one who has, we have a practice, something called non-HR to HR. And he's a, typical operation guy, operation leader, managed it for a long time, and then moved into HR a few years back. And today, for quite some time, He's leading, one of the most beautiful organization, erstwhile public sector company as a CHRO, and he will talk more about it. But leave it to both of you. Thank you so much, Harini. Go ahead.
Okay. Thanks, Praveen. Hello, Subhadeep. Hi.
Hi, Harini.
As we spoke about mergers and acquisitions, so Bharat Aluminium Company Limited is taken over plant, and all the more it's a multi-union plant. So what were the challenges prior to post takeover, and your interesting experiences about it? How you have been handling it?
So, first of all, thanks a lot for inviting me to this platform, and thanks a lot to Praveen sir and Gunjan for making me aware, and Praveen sir, highlighting how I came to HR. So, going to the topic, yes, everything that creates a change brings some pain along with it. There were certain pains because, it takes time to make people believe what we are planning to do with it. So, just I will highlight, what Balco was taken over by Sterlite in 2001. What was Balco then and what is Balco now? When we took over, Balco was producing 1 lakh ton of aluminium. Today, we are producing 5.7 lakh tons of aluminium, and we are expanding by another 4.2 lakh tons. So we will be 11 lakh tons. So this is like somewhere 20, you can say 10 times expansion in 21 years. That is, every 2 years we are doubling our capacity, something like that. Second, similarly to power, we were 270 megawatt. Today we are somewhere around 2000 megawatt of power. 8 times expansion in 10 years. So this is the kind of growth what Balco had seen post privatization. There were hurdles in between in terms of, people don't feel comfortable with the change. But, we have come up with beautiful schemes. A very unique scheme at Balco is probably a rare scheme, that's the employee award scheme. So the employee awards are given first priority in recruitment in the freshers. And it's not just, giving them priority in the fresher recruitment. We also have a very good school. We changed the school earlier. We were having a normal schools. Now we have a DPS in our township that's completely being sponsored by Balco to get DPS in, and we give, sponsorship to the students for studying in DPS. Apart from that, there has been a complete infrastructural change in terms of hospital, schools, the roads, the township, and everything. So, initially there were certain resistance, but now people are welcoming these changes. And, the unions also feel that, and the people also feel that, these changes are for good, not just for, making profit. It's just for good for the society. The overall CSR approach has changed. The training and development of the workers have changed. So they are enjoying this new culture.
Okay. That's wonderful. So this is a question on contract workforce. How do you see in general a scenario where large organizations are hiring huge contract workforce? I think Vedanta is also doing that. That's what Praveen said in the beginning. And the demand on their part for permanent jobs. How do organizations handle this without escalating it to an industrial unrest?
Yeah, so see, there are two perspectives or approaches in this regard. So first approach is that what's the purpose of doing this thing? One is purpose of hiring contract workforce for outsourcing and cost reduction can be one perspective. The second perspective is that, business partnering with good vendors, thereby getting the specialized skills or the specialized people in your organization. So the purpose why Vedanta is going ahead with this kind of a philosophy is that we are tying up with best of the best organizations. Our business partners are like ThyssenKrupp, Siemens, NTPC, GE, these kind of business partners we are dealing with. And we are getting the best of the best people and most skilled people to our organization. And it's not just for, cost reduction, rather it's for process improvement, it's for know-how improvement, it's for changing the complete culture, it's for getting the best skilled people at our end. So the purpose mainly defines. And second is, there are issues regarding permanency, but the schemes we have here again is like in terms of we comply to all the labor laws for them. We create equal opportunity for them. Also, we have the hospital facilities for the contract workers. We have, subsidized facilities. Then we have, there was a philosophy that a separate room for them. So now we called in our plant at Balco, we call it the launch room. The launch rooms is same, which is being used by, let it be the outsourced worker, let it be my regular worker, or let it be my executive. So the standard of living or the standard of things which they get in the plant and they get in the township is one thing which, reduces all the resistance in this regard.
Okay, that's great. So you mean to say that it's more of a value adding to your organization than looking at contract workforce as a cost cutting initiative, and hence the benefits are in par with what you generally offer for a permanent workforce, right?
Correct.
Okay. So how do you see I mean, this is good when it comes to Vedanta, but many organizations are handling it for a different purpose, maybe a cost cutting purpose. So how do you see this new trend of unionization of contract workforce?
We need to understand like why people go to the unions or why people go to somebody else other than the management. If there is a condition when they have certain queries or when they have certain grievances and the management is not ready to address them, then they will go to somebody else. That can be a union leader or can be a stakeholder or any other person. The best way to deal is that, having one-to-one discussions, having very strong grievance management systems, having very strong communication system, which will definitely help in eliminating these things. Second, keeping all people at par. There can't be much of a disparity in terms of wages, or there can't be much of a disparity in terms of the benefits what people give, because the major problem is comparative, the major problem is not absolute. So the comparative differences needs to be addressed beautifully, and the communication has to be very transparent.
Okay. At Vedanta, what are the aspirational avenues you have for contract workforce or your blue collar permanent employees? So what is that you're offering in terms of investment, in terms of their career progression, empowerment, and higher education opportunities? Can you share some best practices in this regard with Balco or maybe with other units?
Yeah. So very specifically, if I say my on-roll regular workers, there is number one scheme is that wherein after suitable who are the good performers can grow up to executives. So there is a workman to executive drive that's done, wherein they get elevated role, managerial roles, post 10 years plus work ex in the executive cadre. And again, everything changes when they come to become an executive, then they get a 6 months training from BITS or 1 year training from multiple organizations with whom we have tied up. Apart from that, from day-to-day learning and everything certification, we have tied up with IIM Raipur, BITS Pilani, and multiple organization, IMI Bhubaneswar, multiple organization with whom we have tied up for their training, as well as, not only limiting the training to them, we are also extending the training to their families, so that, there is a change of belief system, what we can do. So we are also helping their spouses to get along. Second, we also have a unique, this spouse employment policy at Vedanta. That's unique. If people want to continue with that, they want their spouses also start earning along with them at the same unit, we welcome them. And apart from this contract workers, there is a separate, from the contracting side itself, we create that this is the skill matrix. There is a skill management system, there is a specific skill matrix course required. Second, our business partners, there is a compulsion that they have to arrange 4-day compulsory training for all their contract workforce, is mentioned as part of the contract or the PO, whichever we sign in. So it's a mandatory for them. It's not just limited to us. And again, they have to budget a fixed amount in their contract for welfare and training of their workforce. So this is mentioned in the contracts as a standard practice.
Okay. Thanks, Subhadeep. So I'll take some questions from Gunjan, and then I'll come back to both of you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, Gunjan.
Hi, Harini. Good evening. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, Gunjan, so when somebody writes a JD for a IR guy, industrial relations officer, so they write, we need a tough person with 20 years of hardcore IR experience, and we need a man to handle that. So how did Vedanta choose you to be handling IR at one of the toughest terrain, which is a mine with 3,500 plus workforce? How did you successfully handle that? Can you share some experience as a women leader, being a plant head, plant HR head? Can you share your experience?
Sure, Harini. Thanks for that. So I think Vedanta is known, our promoters, in fact, are known for seeing what you cannot see in yourself. So when I was given an opportunity, why talk about others? I myself, I was like the first thought that came to my mind when I thought about handling unions was, how can I do it? I'm a woman. So a lot of my male colleagues also, a lot of my, in fact, friends and colleagues also said the same thing. But I think that is, it comes from the fear of unknown. And that's when I thought that, it's the first thing that I should do is break the ice. With the people. So when I went to the plant, I saw a lot of people going away from me. They wouldn't really come to me, approach me, because they hadn't seen a woman really, specifically in an underground mine. So it is different from other plants. An underground mine is, I think, a completely different ballgame. So they would prefer talking to my male, colleagues, my junior team members, rather than speaking to me directly. So I thought, why not? I think it'll be better to break the ice, get to know each other better. And that's how we really started. I started taking tours of the plant very often. I started going underground into the underground mine. I started taking tours of the canteen. And that's when the ice really broke. And people felt that, yeah, she's like kind of us. I mean, she's not very different from what we thought she would be. And today I can proudly say that we have many such examples in Vedanta of women who are handling mines and plants at a very, very young age. So I think that gave me the fearlessness of doing what is right. When what you're doing is right, you gain that fearlessness, and that's how I really ensure that I'm able to work in the plant. And also the fact that women, I think, naturally do a great job at balancing things. I think we have a natural art of doing it, and that's what I mean. On the contrary, I feel that women can be great at handling unions. We can be firm, we can be tough, and at the same time, we can be empathetic. So I think that's a lot that as women, we can bring on the table, and we can see a lot of women doing this in the future. So yes, Harini, that's all from me.
That's wonderful. So we can be Ma Durga. So when to bless
Absolutely.
and when to...
Absolutely.
Okay, nice. So what percent of women workforce do you currently employ in shop floor? I mean, I'm talking about across the group. How suitable are they?
Right. So a lot of our plants are run by graduates who come from a lot of our local colleges. So in terms of percentage, about 17 to 18% is what we employ on the shop floor. The number of women that are employed on the shop floor across our businesses.
Okay. That's great. So is there any special policies that have been rolled out specifically to women employees in the shop floor, or it's something equal or similar? What is in general?
Right, Harini. In fact, all our businesses, and we can proudly say so, I mean, they are all in remote locations, but we have the best of the infrastructure, and all our locations are very, very safe for, all employees, including our women employees. So I think Subhadeep has already talked about the spouse employment policy. So we encourage a lot of women, to kind of move across locations, move across functions. And there is a spouse employment policy in place in case they get married, if they have a spouse, or they have some challenge in relocating. We encourage, people basis merit to kind of, to employ their spouses, and which can help them in kind of seamlessly rotating from one place to the other. And apart from that, a lot of our movements comes with a lot of growth, a lot of elevated roles, responsibilities, visibilities, and that encourages them to kind of take that step up and take that responsibility and do it. I mean, I myself, if I take my example, I got married and I was staying away from my family for 2 years to ensure that I do that stint in the plant well before I'm able to kind of take on the next plant. So yes, that's how we encourage our women employees to move across levels and across grades, across locations.
In fact, Harini, just to add one more point, many of our SBUs or the companies, you have women leaders also coming in night shift. So, you would see those examples. Earlier, it was not there. But today, you see women driving the entire shift. And there are a couple of cells, what we call control room, and Subhadeep would endorse that in aluminum business or in zinc business, where those control rooms and the shop floor are exclusively managed by the entire women team. And we are also very fortunate that we have few examples that of women leaders who are the underground mine managers. That's first of its kind in the entire country, where you see women managing the as a kind of first class mine managers. It's a very elite thing can happen. So I think that kind of motivation, जब एक लोग दूसरे को देखते हैं, they get inspired, and that's how you build the entire ecosystem. So I think those are some very unique things, I would say.
Okay. Thanks, Praveen. Gunjan, Vedanta is known for rotating talents. For example, Subhadeep is also coming from an operations background, is taking care of HR. And you coming from a plant, as a plant HR, you have moved to corporate. So these are some of the rotations that we have just listened to. Can you share more insights about the rotational policy and how it is specifically impacting women employees, how they are able to cope with it?
So, Harini, all our, in fact, all the roles that that become vacant by virtue of any reason are first internally advertised. The first preference that we give is to our internal talent before we go out to the market. So, all our people are given an equal opportunity to apply, to raise their hands, take up an opportunity if they think it's something that would excite them. And we have all our policies are designed in a way that encourages these people to take up those roles seamlessly. So, for example, you took an example of Subhadeep. He's moved from operations into HR, and you'll see a lot of people from moving cross-functionally within the organization. So, in terms of as I said, we have spouse employment policy as well for our people, which encourages women specifically to kind of seamlessly move from one location to the other. All our facilities come with infrastructure, come with facilities of housing, of schools, of medical facilities, which ensure there can be seamless transition from one place to the other. So the policies are designed in a way that it really doesn't become any sort of a hindrance in moving. So if you're really interested in a particular role, you're encouraged to kind of take up that opportunity and move. So yes, so that's how we really encourage our people to move from one location to the other.
Just to add one thing, Harini, we broadly, to put it in simple way, we follow 3x3x3 matrix, which is 3 year, 3 businesses, and 3 role. If you have to attain the CXO role, you must go through this journey. And the way I said at the beginning, we are fortunate enough for the simple reason. I have a huge respect for Tata as an organization, but unfortunately, they do not have the movement. People can't move from TCS to Tata Motor to Tata Steel. That's not there. But I think, Vedanta as an organization, people can move from zinc business to iron ore to steel to aluminum to oil and gas to copper. And that's where you gain that exposure. And we have seen the people, those who have raised their hand, moved locations, taken up cross-functional opportunity, they have attained that CXO role much earlier and on a fast-track basis. So just to put it in perspective.
That's wonderful. That's really an interesting policy that we have listened to, because This really helps control attrition because some people move for learning, for better opportunities. Some want to move for personal reasons. So
Yes.
this is a scheme that really helps filling the positions internally than, as she mentioned,
Yes.
looking for external candidates. That's a real good learning that I can say. Gunjan, one question, one last question for this round. So can you name some of the best practices, employee relations best practices for both white collar employees and also blue collar employees?
Sure. So yes, Harini. So if I start with one of the most important, the pandemic hit us a few years back, and I think one of the most important things that we took care about our people was the health and their safety, which I think Praveen sir in his pillar, one of the most important pillars for us in Vedanta is the health and safety for our people. So when the pandemic hit, we were one of the first conglomerates to really cover all our people across, as I said, across the value chain, our employees, our business partners, and their families in the COVID coverage. We ensured that we had mass vaccination drives for all our people. We were one of the first people to get the Covishield consignments and ensured that the remotest of our locations get the vaccines. And it was not just the employees who benefited, it was the business partners and their families as well. So, of course, we also went beyond this and ensured that there is hospital coverage for our business partners up to 1.5 lakhs, which was given from, by Vedanta. And due to, like, God forbid, if there was due to COVID, if there was any fatality, there was a lump sum amount that was, given to all these people and their families who lost their lives due to COVID. So, of course, I think this was something and this is how Vedanta, the promoters, our chairman, felt that we must support and come together during these tough times. Secondly, if I can talk about, in Vedanta, we believe in going beyond what's required by the statute. When it comes to the wages, we are much beyond the living wages for our business partners. We make sure that they are part of our profit sharing, and we give out something called a goodwill gesture, which is over and above the statutory bonus that is paid out to our people. We have a benevolent fund for our business partners, wherein if a person loses life off duty, then again the person is paid a lump sum amount that is paid to the dependents of the family of the deceased. So these are some of the policies that we have, best practices that we have, which I think comes under the bucket of wages and the reward and recognition. Of course, our people. The second, in fact, the reward and recognition that I talked about, our business partners are also covered in the monthly reward schemes that we have for our employees. So if I take an example of Hindustan Zinc, in the mine where I operated, every month we had awards for our best operators, for the month. We had the employee of the month who were awarded. So various schemes of rewards and recognitions are also extended to all our business partners, to all our employees. And in plants in our various locations, we also see a lot of events happening. Like family get-togethers, celebration of various festivals, where all of us come together, and celebrate, the occasion. So irrespective of which background you come from, we all come together and celebrate the various festivals together. So this is another important practice. And one of the most important, I think, which is unique to Vedanta, is the skill development of our business partners. So in underground mining, if we see, there are a lot of skills which are very, very niche. And in the past, you've seen a lot of expats coming into those kind of roles. A lot of the jumbo drill operators used to be Peruvian or used to be from China. But Hindustan Zinc and Vedanta, we were one of the first few companies to kind of ensure that our local, people are developed in those niche kind of skills. So you'll see a lot of training centers that have been developed, simulators that we have created in our plants to really make sure that our local youth is skilled in these niche skills. So we have really, kind of replaced a lot of expats from our local talent. So skill development is, I think, another unique practice that we have here at Vedanta.
Okay. That's great, Gunjan. Thank you, thank you. I'm going to. Actually, I planned for 2 rounds of questions. Though we are overshooting time, however, I don't want to miss the second round of questions, and I'm going to quickly have 10 minutes of time to more kind of rapid fire to really share some, because in round 2, I planned for really some practical questions. Rather we talk a lot about many theoretical high level aspects of it. So some practical answers might really help the participants to learn and implement some of the best practices. So I'm going to quickly take 2 questions from Praveen and Subhadeep. So one is Praveen. First to start with, so having your Vedanta's presence in multi-state and multi-geographies at large. So how the group has handled regional dynamics so far when it comes to industrial relations? What is the role of corporate in this? How do you see it?
No, I think very interesting, Harini. And we as an organization, if you ask me, we appreciate something called proper geo mix. And that is right from the beginning, And I can just share with all my participants here. I think we are again very fortunate as a kind of conglomerate where we hire 2,000 freshers year on year from the top premier institute of the country, at a graduate level till the top from IIM and IIT. The reason why I'm indicating this, we strongly believe people hired from South must get to work in North people working in, East people working in South. So that's the kind of proper mix we have. And I think what I have experienced, people generally appreciate the learning and the growth when they see a diverse mix, happens at an organization level. And in turn, believe me or not, company benefits a lot. And whether it's at a fresher level, Gunjan talked about expats, just indicating a kind of statistics. As we speak, 30 nationalities is working with me in various part of the businesses. So broadly talking, diversity, geomix, people, collaborating with each other, that helps. I will give one more example finally. I know it's a rapid fire from our South Africa plant. The union team of South Africa, they were invited to come to India, visit our plant, see what's happening around, learn from that. So we encourage those kind of practices, not, union people moving and exchanging thought processes. They are getting opportunity to see how things are happening. I don't think you can hear those kind of examples. Let's talk about, that's make a kind of oneness. Everybody is talking about business, the growth, learning, growing together, and that's the unique part of it. Thank you so much, Harini.
Yes, Dean sir is raising his hand. Dean,
yes.
Do you want to say something?
Yes.
Yes, please. He's been raising it for quite some time.
Yes. Dean Sab, you are on mute. You are on mute. We can't hear you. You need to unmute it.
Admin, can you help?
No.
Yes.
Unmuted. Thanks a lot. I consciously took a back seat and requested Harini to process this whole session. I think she being a junior has done it very well. One question I was wanting to check with you, semiconductors, which is the skill for semiconductors is not available in the country. In fact, we are working with one of the Silicon Valley group. Very handful of semiconductor people are available, and you are putting up a huge facility in Gujarat. How are you going to front-end load the skill building? Because that's going to be one of the most critical challenges the whole country is going to face, and chips are going to be a bigger challenge. So, what is the human resources strategy for building front-end loading the skill building for semiconductor?
No, thank you, Dean. And before I answer this in a very brief way, I really want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to participate in this webinar. amazing webinar, the way I'm experiencing right from, when Anand Gopalan was talking about in brief about how things are progressing and the update. And I have been a, follower of yours. I have learned a lot of things from you, like the way Eklavya has learned something from, Dronacharya, while not directly working with you, but I have been keep observing you from distance, the way you have been driving things in the country. People have a high regard for you. I have heard from many of the veterans. So it's a great opportunity for me. Harini, you did a great job. The way Dean is encouraging youngsters, that's something which is, I really enjoy. There are many less leaders in the country who are encouraging youngsters to come up. And, one example we have seen today. Coming back, Dean, to semiconductor, it's one of the very niche thing happening in India, in our country. I think Vedanta as an organization, we have taken this step thanks to our chairman. It was always his dream that how can India become a kind of, superpower in some way. And that, believe me, in time to come, we all will talk about it, that this particular step will help not only as an organization or business, but at country at large. It will help a lot. Number two, there are team, it's at a very initial stage. Team are working on some fundamentals, some basics. We have tied up, we have a joint venture with one of the very known organization, Foxconn. They are pioneer, they are leader in this. And that's where we believe the technicality, the functionality, the support we will gain from them, that will help us a lot. Number two, while we bring our own strength in terms of the Vedanta group. But number three, the philosophy of the organization is we always believe in taking help from the experts, from the business partners who are very good in any aspect, whether it is people related, whether it is functional related, or whether it is technical related. And we do that. As we speak, whenever I run any HR initiative, I don't shy away, I don't hesitate, but I raise my hand, I go for, best of the consultant to come and support me. So maybe I think coming to those stage, when we reach there, I think that's there in our mind. Maybe it's too early for now for me to comment, but at least at a HR level, at a management level, we are very conscious. While we have tie up with a strong partner, but we will not hesitate. We will take help from the best of the organization. The way you said that, you have been supporting and helping in this particular area to some of the clients. I think people like you, the business partners would come forward and help us in terms of, ensuring we have best of the skill sets in terms of taking things forward.
Thank you. There's one sensitive question a lot of participants want to ask, but you're free not to answer that. And the post the Tuticorin episode and the committee which has given this recommendation, where are we there? If you don't want to answer, please don't answer.
No, I think I would be more than happy to talk about it. Tuticorin is one of our mother plant. Mr. Agarwal, whatever he is today, it is because of what, Copper has given to this Vedanta group. And Tuticorin stands very close to us. While a lot of developments are happening, the input, what we get, the teams are in place. You have a huge team, and we are very fortunate that during the pandemic time, I think Tuticorin was one of the operations which supplied oxygen to the entire country, especially to the south of India. We reopened it only for the purpose that if we can help for some larger purpose. And today, Dean, as we speak, people are one. The community is with Sterlite. They want to see the organization comes up, at the earliest. People get opportunity in terms of the livelihood and many other things. And there are, the ground level, there is a swell of support we are seeing in the entire ecosystem. And I think we are very confident things should come on track, although it's a very judiciary kind of stuff which is in progress. But we all look forward to it, and things will be very normal like earlier. I hope very soon.
That's very good to hear. I think we should throw it open, Harini, to others if your questions are exhausted.
Yes. Any question from participants? Yes.
Yeah, sure.
feel free. There are a lot of participants here. You can switch on your, unmute yourself, switch on your video. Feel free if we can share any experience. We would be more than happy to take your views, comments, any learning you want to share. Harini, we are completely fine.
Oh, you're asking me or from the participants?
It's for the participants, yes.
Okay. I'm not able to read any chats.
Yeah, you can continue, Harini, with your thing if you have anything. Sure.
I had two questions for Subhadeep. That is, Balco, as we said, is a multi-union unionized plant. So were there instances of inter-union rivalry in the past? So yeah, can you just share the experience and approach and how the solution was arrived?
Yeah, so because of multi-union and that too, all the nationalized unions what we have, so this happens quite frequently. This happens because, there are fights for the representation and everybody would like to have the representation status. And, 3-layer strategy, what we do in this regard. Number one is, we have to have a clear-cut strategy that this situation doesn't create any unrest in the plant. This is a inter-union rivalry, nothing to do with the management. So nothing should happen in the plant. No unrest situation can happen. Plant should run smoothly. Number one. Number two, we keep labor department and seniors of the unions at state and national level informed about the status that, this is happening between your unions. We keep close. We are in close discussion with the seniors in the unions or affiliations wherever they are connected. Number three, and how to deal with such situation if it aggravates. So we call it, bring the elephant out in open. So bring forward the issues, what they avoid discussing in the front and close the matter then and there itself.
Okay, that's fine. So in your experience, can you also say which was the toughest settlement that you took to arrive and in terms of the time? And can you please share some best practices that industries can adopt when it comes to negotiations and settlement?
So, our wages for the workers as well as the long-term settlement, we also do for the contract workers also. The contract workers at Balco are covered in different wage grades from WC1 to WC25. That's a standard practice. And normally this is done in every 5 years, wherein, we discuss on the increment rate and the benefits part, as well as, it's a give and take process, like what the increment we would be getting, what will be the benefits we would be giving, and what the management will be getting in terms of productivity enhancement, in terms of better efficiencies in the plant, in terms of better, results in the plant. So number one, we tried to convince on a variable kind of a model. This was quite difficult, but now we are ready. It's like the model is on, you can see the capacity to pay kind of a model. The increment rate would be on the capacity to pay. It's quite a variable kind of a model, as well as, there were demands on the production incentive that has also been linked to, production incentive is now linked at Balco, not only just to, you can say the production, but it's linked to overall free cash flow as well as the safety aspects. So it was difficult to workers to explain that how this is important from them. They told that why we would lose our incentive if there is any LTI in the plant or if there is any accident in the plant. So we told that we want focus of everybody so that you are safe and the focus is safety. And, it's not about earning, it's about going back home also safely. So, so this was one thing quite difficult, but now it's through. Our incentive scheme includes having 0 LTI or accidents also.
Okay. Thanks, Subhadeep. I have a few questions from the participants. One from Mr. Asif. So he has asked, may you kindly share best practices in grooming female leaders in the organization? I'm opening it to the group, to the team. Anyone can answer.
Okay, so maybe, while Gunjan, she has indicated her own growth story, and Harini, Gunjan is an example in the entire country, one of the youngest HR head for for a large manufacturing setup, underground mining, what the country has seen. But it's a very detailed question, can't get into detail of it. It's a very broader thing what you are asking, best practices in terms of promoting women. I can keep talking for next couple of hours on this area, but generally what we have seen, getting women from campus is okay, not that difficult. You can get them, while still in some of the niche area, the induction itself is very less. If I talk about power, if I talk about mining, if I talk about smelting, to some extent engineering, of course you see some good number, but still even at a college level, the entry point itself, the numbers are, you see dearth of people in the diversity in the women level. Not getting into it, still you can get them, but the problem comes when you see they coming to the middle and senior level. That's where you keep seeing a kind of churning happening. People, women leaders leave because of their own personal obligations and many other things, and you keep seeing attrition and they going out. I think the real exciting thing for us, what we have done, there is a program called We Lead. It's an army of 100 women leader. It's an army, we call it We Lead, an army of 100 women leader. They have been handpicked. All these 100 women are being prepared, mentored, coached, anchored for moving into the CXO role. We are very, very particular that they move into CXO role. They become CHRO, they become deputy CHRO, they become commercial head, they become marketing head, they become operation head. But the point is, if you can see them moving into CXO role, that's the success. And we are very fortunate, at least in our peer group of natural resources industry, whether I take my peer group as a Rio Tinto, Extrata, Vale, all those Anglo America, we are well placed, and our leadership ratio of women is much, much higher compared to my peer group. Having said that, I'm not complacent about it at all. I think we need to be very, very particular in terms of ensuring you anchor them well. It's not only program, but ensuring that it runs, it's executed well. You see them there. It can't happen only in papers. Scheme hai, sab kuch hai, kaam nahi ho raha hai. It will not work that way. I'm not saying we are 100% perfect. No, we are not. But then we are conscious about it. We are doing something about it. And we have seen some good outcome. We will continue in that journey.
Maybe one more last question from Umayar. She's asked, so you being a great fan of Tata's, does you have an IR model like Tata Steel joint consultancy system?
Subhadeep, maybe if you want to indicate, yes, I have a huge respect for Tata. They have an amazing legacy behind all of us. What they have achieved, I always give this example, what they have achieved in 100 years, $100 billion company, 100 locations, all those 100 figure. But I think we are very fortunate that whatever they could do, not comparing, but we have been able to do it in 30 to 35 years period of time by being so sharp and focused on our strength. But having said that, particularly to your point in terms of their IR model, maybe Subhadeep, quickly you want to talk about it?
Yeah. So not exactly in terms of GCC, but we have different committees which are, have equal participation of, you can say the union workers, unionized workers and management. Like we have a township committee, the hospital management committee, and the shop floor councils, or you can say the canteen committee, the canteen menu, the canteen rates, everything is finalized, or the canteens are actually managed by these committees. So there are different committees, not exactly we operate at the structure of JCC. JCC is slightly different. It's a common decision-making body, but we have plant council and specific councils or bodies for every aspect which, affects the workers.
Okay.
And Harini, just to let know, Vedanta as a group, we are not union, we have not much of the union except for one or two company. Just for information, in case if everybody is thinking all our company has union, no, except for one or two companies, we are union free kind of organization, just for information. But Harini, beautiful. Yes.
That speaks a lot about what's been happening in employee relations.
Yes.
That speaks volume.
Yes, yes.
Ingoben is also again another company without union, successfully in Sri Perumbudur built and still managed, as far as I remember.
Yes.
And I mean, I think we have really overshot time. It's 5:30. So we
Amazing.
can, Dean, shall we conclude the session, or do you have any questions?
And beautiful.
Thank you all. Thanks, Praveen. Thanks, Subhadeep, and thanks, Gunjan. It was really wonderful interacting with you all, and we all had an amazing learning, and we are proud of what Vedanta is doing for its people, for its employees, and all the best practices. It's really a learning for the whole community. And thank you all for your precious time and patient answering to each and every question.
Beautiful. Thank you so
Look
much.
forward to one more detailed session in future if
Yes.
time permits.
Yes. Thank you, Harini. Thanks a lot. Dean, so nice of you, so kind of you once again. And for anything, if we can be of any help through LinkedIn channel, we are very active, or whichever medium you feel appropriate, we would be more than happy to help you all. But thank you so much to all my participants and the organizing team. Much appreciate. Thank you so much.
Thanks to team. Thanks, Dean. And thank you all participants for supporting us. Yeah. Have a nice weekend and a great evening.
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Subhadeep, Gunjan.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.